This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's video. I thought we'd start with taking a look at Ever because it's pushing up pretty nicely today off of the ideal low for our green wave 1 and wave 2 off of the more shallow wave 2 here. So at the time this was not as reliable, but we did get what counts easily as 5 waves up for wave 1 and have held a very nice ABC retrace. There was a chance also that this is an alt of the parentheses wave 1. So if we see this develop into clearly only an ABC bounce into the 54 to 55 resistance region, instead of getting 5 waves up towards 60, 62, which would be the normal or ideal target for that green wave 1 of 3, targeting up here in the 160s for the 1382 extension. But if we see only a clear ABC up into the mid 50s, then that would be the signal to maybe get a little bit of protection or tighten up some stops and trim, because that could be an A and a B wave and setting up for a C wave down towards the 20s again, as a blue alt for this parentheses wave 2. But I think what we'll do is for this, we'll make this yellow as a much more distant alt and go ahead and snap our wave 2 over to that low, with the green subwaves in between. And then we can zoom out here and take a look at how the green subwave count fits in with the, oops, didn't mean to move that whole thing, with the projections for parentheses wave 3. So our parentheses wave 2 down here was a little bit less than a 382 retrace. So that's why we were giving it the potential of putting this alt wider flat for the wave 2 out here. But it did get a good 5 waves up, and we can see that based on our Fibonacci pinball, that came right about to the 618. So we are looking for more of a 3, 4, and 5 up for that wave 3. And that actually, the 1382 extension is all the way up at 644. So we could see this third stretch more towards the 250 region and then hold as a fourth. And so that's going to be a little bit past the 1618 for the third itself. But a lot of really, really good potential. So the 6% move that we got up today should really be just the start. So we'll go ahead and zoom back in on a little bit more detail here and fill out the ideal subwave path that we would want to see. So off of this, just slightly below the 50% retrace, this can be a micro 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 waves up. It seems a little bit small for a wave 1 of this 3, but so maybe it stretches a little bit more. But other than that, it looks pretty good for an initial 5 waves up. Our ideal support for a parentheses wave 2 is going to be back in the 38 region. And then fairly quickly, we should see the rest of the 3, 4, 5 fill out towards that 60 to 62. And again, if this holds the 38, but then only goes up towards 50 to 54 and can't get a full extension past that towards the 55 region and then hold a 4 and a 5, that's when we start to get a little bit worried that that might be an alt of the B wave. But so far, this is looking great off of a very, very clear ABC consolidation off of the July high that had us trigger that as a wave alert. WDC is also looking great at the very small degree off of its recent low. This is looking to start, we could probably up the degree here because so many other things are counting at 1 degree larger. So I'll go ahead and up that to intermediate degree for the 5 waves up and then the ABC for wave 2. So our 1, 2's at parentheses now. So I just changed that by 1 degree. The count otherwise is identical. So we're looking for confirmation of the start of our third, targeting the 76.75 region. That's 76.74 is the 1382 fib extension, not 76/75, although it's about the same. So we're looking for 5 waves up into our ideal target zone for Fibonacci pinball, which is going to be the 42s to 48 region. And what we have so far off of the low is this possible micro 5 waves up, which could be just the wave one of the start of the larger third. That likely would push that wave one closer to the 618, which is at 48.55. So any consolidation we get here as a small wave two off of our recent low from August really should hold the 36 region. Then we should get 5 waves up as a third towards 44. At that point, hold the 41 to 40 region and then come up towards the 48s to fill out that 5 waves up in the start of the larger third that we're looking for. Next, wanted to look at PLSE. This looked like maybe it was going to hold the initial spike down the other day with the pop off that low, but still trying to get a little bit more of a trickle down to hit the exact 920 level for a 618 retrace. Again, we've talked a little bit before about the subwaves inside this wave two are really not so crystal clear, but we can go ahead and put an A wave here and a B wave here. And then inside this C wave, we can look at this as an ending diagonal and call this a 1, 2. This is a 3, and this bounce was a 4. And so now we're filling out the 5th wave that can be targeting just a little bit nominally lower towards that 1920 would be the ideal spot for it to hold and turn up sharply from there. And again, at the larger degrees, we are looking for the third of the parentheses wave 3. And because we have a clean 5 waves up here and a corrective retrace for wave 2, our Fibonacci projection for the parentheses wave 3 is up here, the 1382 at 3112. But our third of that should target about the 100% extension, which is 2118. We can see that puts it just a little bit past the 1618 and 178.6 extensions for the third itself, based on holding that $9.20 low for a 618 retrace for the wave two. So this is really one of those ideal setups that it's not going to work every single time, but when we see these, this is kind of that holy grail setup for Elliott waves. So you certainly, and it has very, very good risk reward. So take some exposure. Ideal support is to hold the 1920 or the 860 region. It invalidates this wave one and wave two at 773. And while it could be an alt of a parentheses wave two below that, it would really look far less favorable if this 5 waves up for wave one of parentheses wave three failed to hold. So the setup is this part right here for the duration of the move. Next, wanted to look at KNOP. Also similar to Ever, I think, we have a nice 5 waves up and an ABC retrace, although we don't have 5 waves down in the C wave. So I mentioned this when I posted the other day. We do have a nice little move off of what came very close to a 618 retrace for the wave two. But if this is all of the wave two, then instead of an A, B, and a C, this has to count as a W, X, and a Y wave, because we don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. We only have an A, B, C so far inside that C wave. So either this is going to fill out more of the start of wave one of 3, off of this recent low, or we're going to get another quick spike down towards the 1114 or maybe a little bit below that as a 5th wave of this yellow C, and this is 1, 2, 3, and this bounces 4, and then try and reverse from there. At the larger degree though, we're in that initial target zone. So if you're looking at it at this degree from a longer term standpoint, then you can certainly look at it acquiring some initial shares in this region with support under the 10s. And then we're looking for, assuming it holds this region for the 618, the 1382 extension is up at 2775. We'll go ahead and add in the subwave projections inside that third. And based on Fibonacci pinball, our targets for 5 waves up for this wave 1 are going to be first 1440, 1556, and then 1681. If it does head all the way up to 1681 for 5 waves up as that wave 1, then it'll move the target for wave 5 of 3 up to the 1618, if not higher, and that would be above 32. But right now we'll look for a possible move towards the 1550 region, and it is certainly possible this initial move off the low to the 1280s could be wave 1 of this wave 1. So we'll look and see if that can develop a little bit more. If it does move up a little bit more off the low, then we can move up support to that recent low for wave 2, and then look for more microstructure to set up some additional entries along the way. We talked a little bit about Twitter. I think we talked about it last week, but it pushed up a little bit further past that resistance region that we were looking for as the possible B wave inside the green wave 2, which is inside this parentheses 3 of the larger primary wave 3. So we have our Cowabunga IPO pattern into the truncated bottom back here in April 2017. A strong 5 waves up for our primary degree wave 1 into the 2018 high, a very nice expanded or just a wide WXY complex flat for the wave 2 into the March low. We have what looks best as 5 waves up and then almost a 50% retrace for the parentheses wave 1 and wave 2 of primary wave 3, targeting the 107.85 region for that 138.2% extension. The 100%, which is the minimum target for our parentheses wave 3, is about 67.69. And that's a little bit past the 1382, but a little bit shy of the 1618 extension for that parentheses wave 3 itself. So at the larger degrees, we have a very nested pattern. We are very, very bullish on Twitter, but it is still possible to count this either as an alt of wave 1 or still just an alt of this B wave and allow it for an attempt at a consolidation back towards the 35 region still. Probably not going to get much below that if it does fade at all. But this can also just be 5 waves up for the green wave 1 of the green 3 here. And we can go ahead and put that on the chart, but I would, certainly if you don't have any exposure here, the way that I would play this at this point is, planning on trying to buy more, either as more of a breakout confirms or from the 35 region, but having at least an initial exposure that maybe uses some high level of support here, or just planning to add more if it does happen to give us more of that consolidation. So if this is a new 5 waves up for the subwave inside this 3, then we could get a fade back towards maybe the 38s. But it certainly keeps flirting with more of a more immediate breakout, so it could be making its way towards the 55 region even faster. Let's take a look at SDC next. We had talked about the potential for when this was holding what looked like only a corrective bounce so far off of the 382 retrace. So we had a weird expanded B wave and then a kind of muted C wave down that did count as a possible 5 waves down, but it was very muted to the 382 retrace as a running flat for our parentheses wave 2. And we only got an initial move up that looked like 3 waves. So from there was certainly a chance that this could have dropped one more time lower towards the 7 to 620 region as the fifth wave of the C wave of wave 2. But this pop makes it far more likely that this is the start of wave 1 of 3. So because the initial move here, and this is based on our wave 2 low here projected out to a 1382 extension, we're looking for that parentheses 3 to target the 31 region. 3 of 3 should target the 21 region. And 1 of 3 can target the 11 to 12 region, maybe up towards 14, but probably 11 to 12. But because that initial move off of this low looked more like only 3 waves up, and this is pretty much just a straight gap, I think this is a non-overlapping leading diagonal, where this is an ABC for wave 1, this is the wave 2. Maybe if you zoomed in more, you could see an A, B, and a C wave up here for a third. So we can get a fourth wave that fades down to about maybe the 870 region, and then an ABC up for a fifth of wave 1 towards the 10 or 11 level, and then another consolidation as wave 2 would be the ideal next entry to add more, other than and be able to raise our stops up above this level once we get 5 waves up and 3 waves down that holds this region. So looking good on SDC. FSLY also gave us a pretty decent looking 5 waves up as a leading diagonal in the start of our parentheses wave 5 off of the August low. We're currently consolidating in what looks like a wave 2 and should fill out more of a 3, 4, 5 in a standard impulse, targeting maybe that 197 region, which is the high. It's a pretty far more distant fib. You know, there are some fib levels in between here, between the 200% and the 2618. But because our B wave of 4 made a higher high in an expanded flat, and the proportions here is a wave 1 and a wave 2 of a bigger fifth, this looks like heading up towards the 197 region is very, very feasible. Zooming in a little bit more on the leading diagonal for wave 1 and the retrace that we're working on in wave 2. Ideally, we get at least one more drop towards the 83s. 82 is the 618 retrace there. So that would really be ideal. This looks like 5 waves up, as we said when we were zoomed out a little bit more, and an A, B, and a C wave down. It is possible that this is just wave 1 and wave 2 of a bigger ending diagonal, and that might stretch it down closer to the 78 region. But one more drop that looks like it's holding the 85 to 82 level can certainly be a good spot to attempt an add if it starts to try and reverse from there. Snap, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. I think Snap is actually very similar to FSLY. We have a possible leading diagonal start to a 5th wave. In Snap, I think I'm counting it as the 5th of a parentheses wave 3, but also targeting into the low to mid 30s off of the August 24th low. So we're looking at consolidating in towards the 22 region as a small degree wave 2. But really looking good off of that recent low as the start of a 5th wave up. And lastly, wanted to take a look at SWBI. Posted this as a wave setup the other day, looking for a 5th wave up in what should be a primary degree wave 1 off of the March low. So the March low was a cycle degree B wave, looking for a 5th wave up as primary wave 1 in the larger cycle C wave up. But so far, we have only 3 waves up off of what really should hold for our 4th wave. This is ideal support for the 4th wave. We can get that as an A, B, and a C wave down, even though there's a tiny little B wave in there. So I'm thinking because this is clearly only an ABC start, that this 5th wave is going to be an ending diagonal. And what that means is that this is probably ABC up for wave 1. It's working on a wave 2. And then we get a 3rd wave up that would target the 1 to 3.6% extension for the most likely. Don't have to get overlap in the fourth, but easily can get a little bit of overlap with the top that we made of wave 1, and then a fifth wave up. And that projects right into the target region that we're looking for in the 31 to 33 region for the fifth as well. So fits pretty nicely. So we should see maybe a little bit more of a B wave bounce inside this wave 2, and then a C wave down really should hold the high 18s. All right, we'll go ahead and end there, and I will see you guys tomorrow.